Hello, fifth graders. Happy Monday. Happy last week of school before spring break. And happy spring. It just became springtime on Saturday. So this week we are reading in our RWW a story about a golf spill in the water. So we're going to learn the Latin root for water, which is aqua. And we're going to learn all idioms that have the word blue in them. So today's idiom is once in a blue moon. Once in a blue moon. You may have heard this before. Here's the literal meaning. It means figuratively, though, that something happens very rarely. It happens once after a long time. It's something that happens very seldom, which means it happens hardly ever. Seldom means hardly ever. It happens almost never. Okay? So, sentence. A pandemic only happens once in a blue moon, thankfully. The last one was a Spanish flu in 1918. So instead of saying there's rarely a pandemic, we can make it a bit more imaginative by using the idiom, right? Saying a pandemic only happens once in a blue moon. So we are going through this pandemic now, which, as you know, is quite difficult, challenging, but we are being resilient. We are getting through this. There is perhaps a light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully. And so, hopefully we won't have to go through another pandemic in our lifetime, although experts say that it will happen again, probably in another blue moon, so to speak, maybe much, much later. But because experts think that a pandemic will occur again, that we should be prepared, like the nation should be prepared for whenever that may happen, even if it's not for a very long time. Here's another sentence. I only get to see my grandma once in a blue moon because she lives in Guatemala. So if something happens very rarely, it hardly ever happens, then you can use this idiom, or you could even use it in a more sarcastic manner, like, my mom would never give me money for that. Maybe once in a blue moon, she lets me have some extra spending money. Something like that. Okay, now, this week we're going to work on the suffix ible, which means can be done. Can be done. And I taught you odd before, which means sound. So what does it mean if something is audible? So we learned odd before. So this means that it is a sound that can be heard, because odd means sound. So if we put these things together, sound plus can be done, we can say this is a sound that can be heard. It is something that we can hear. Now, here are some example sentences. The quiet guitar was barely audible. Or, I turn up the volume on my laptop I can turn up the volume on my laptop so that my teacher's voice is audible, meaning I can hear my teacher's voice. What does audible mean? A sound that is audible is loud enough for you to hear it. It can be heard, okay? Can be heard. Great. Now we are going to work on the Latin root aqua, which means water. And of course, if you know this word in Spanish, it's very helpful because it's the same root. So we know that water is agua, right? So it's the same root. It's great because you can hopefully make that connection. So here is the example of the root, which is the same word, but it's in word form versus the root form. But we're going to learn other aqua words this week. And you may know of some, like aquarium or aquamarine. But we have the word aqua. What is aqua? It's a light bluish green color. Here's what it looks like. So, sentence, my favorite color is aqua because it reminds me of the ocean and is a soothing color. So we've got aqua words this week, children, and ible for the suffix. We'll learn other ible words, and we shall learn idioms that have the word blue in them. Don't forget to answer the questions very well and check out the next video when it pops up.